works and that creates value. There's a difference. Ourselves, we are very good at political sloganeering, and then Kenyans are very innocent. They actually think you have a plan for that one.
Professor Iraki, pending bills also came out as one of the key challenges in, the counties, achieving their targets. How do they do away with this pending bills? Because it's something that keeps on recurring every year, year in, year out. It's something that I'm sure you've talked about in different interviews, the same with the Professor Naitule. These are things that you've talked about year in, year out. How do we do away with the pending bills?
First of all, pending bills really worry me because when you don't pay people money, you slow down the economy. Because when you pay people money, they don't put it in the pocket, they use it. And that stimulates the economy. And from this report, the pending bills were about 176 billion Kenyan shillings. That's a lot of money. And you cannot imagine how much economic effect that bill would have if it was paid up. So since President Ruto came to power, he continued verification of the bills from President Uhuru's reign. So there's more verification than payment. So I think we need to finish this verification as soon as possible. People are paid money, this money gets into the economy and it stimulates the economy. But one way to make sure that there is less pending bills is to make sure there's less corruption. Because sometimes these pending bills come because there were corrupt deals. So maybe somebody was given a tender and never completed. Or somebody has a dubious tender somewhere. So the bill keeps on piling, but there's no work done. So if there's less corruption, I believe there will be less pending bills. And number two, let's be sincere. We need to trust people. So if I've done work for a certain county or for the government, and the work can be seen here, pay me. Because it's very unfair for somebody to do some work, borrow some money in the bank, do some work, and then he's not paid. So trust and make sure there's less corruption will reduce pending bills.
Prof, first and foremost, the question of pending bills should not arise because it's illegal. PMI, Public Financial Management Act forbids it. You cannot spend money first, which was not budgeted. To budget the money, it had to be tied to a specific project. Then you budget it, and it's tied to that project. So if you budget, in other words, you don't have a project which money has not already been set aside. So to spend money which has not been budgeted is illegal. Because the money must be appropriated. The Appropriation Act, that thing you call budget, it comes into two pieces of legislation. There is recurrent, which is for paying salaries, and there is development. Those for the control of budget to authorize removal of money, he's supposed to check whether it's legal. In other words, is it in the budget in those two acts? That's what we call budget. So this question of pending bills,
yes,
it simply describes outright corruption, outright theft, because it's not supposed to be there. We should not be discussing it if the law is followed. Now, what happens when you violate the law? You see, because it's a violation of the law to spend money which was not approved by Parliament, or to carry how did you carry the project in the first place? You see,
without money that you
without
don't
the
have.
money, without the authorization through Parliament, which is where we get the expenditure authorized. So what is happening here is that we just decided to normalize corruption, to normalize theft by servant. You see, this thing we call corruption is theft by servant, because I'm stealing because of the position you have given me. Without that position, I actually cannot steal. So it's theft by servant. It has been normalized. Otherwise, we should not be discussing pending bills at all, because that should not arise. The money is budgeted for a specific project. The project is executed, we evaluate, and we pay you.
Now, today when I was having lunch, I was speaking to a colleague of mine, and he was telling me that in his county, You can just park a car for the whole day and you end up not paying the county.
Where is that?
I will not mention. I will not mention the county.
That's the nepotism you're talking about.
I'll not mention the county. But the big question, arises. So how is the county going to make money if the people who are entitled, or rather given that mandate to collect money for the county, are not doing their work? And if they are doing, they are not submitting the cash to the counties.
Automation. Use more automation. That will reduce that. In fact, if you look at the counties that have reported higher revenue collection, they have moved a lot to automation. So that when I come and park the car,
Yes.
I don't need to see somebody coming around getting money from me. I can use M-Pesa or a certain number and pay. But I think the bigger issue about this pending bills, because it is very pertinent to me, because economists will tell you that if you don't pay bills, you slow the economy, as I put it earlier. But let me ask you a question. How comes that absorption rate for development is 57%?
Yes.
That means a lot of money is not absorbed in development. Yet you are paying bills. And that's the disconnect we need to cross. That let money be put to the right use, and that is going to stimulate the economy, expand the countries, the county's economy, create jobs, and that was the original dream of the counties. Number two, and I think this is very important, why can't we classify county debt as national debt? Because if you remember, when we get money from consolidated fund, the first charge is always the national debt. So if we put county debt here, which is genuine, then we are going to pay it as any other debt. Why can't we do that?
Prof, that's another mistake we make. The first charge is not supposed to be on national debt. It's supposed to be on national interest. If you look at Article 203.
I agree with you.
It's supposed to be on national, what is our priority, national priority. Then debt actually comes in number 3. It's not even in number 2. The Constitution, I'm talking about Article 203.
But the reality is different.
Yes, reality is different. So, if we stick, why Kibaki made a difference in the country? He actually stuck to the law. He actually followed the law, budgetary provisions. He never acted outside those provisions. This is why he was able to move the economy around. Here, right now, we are acting as if the law does not exist. And we didn't start, to be fair to William Ruto. This started with Uhuru Kenyatta. It didn't start with Ruto.
Yes, Professor Naitule, there's something Professor Iraqi has said, the absorption of development funds into the counties, and these funds, they should be benefiting devolution, but they're not reaching the people. And it's something that you were talking about earlier, that there are projects that these funds should get into, but they're not getting into those projects that should be benefiting the people.
You see, the whole India budget is a plan of how the county or the national government will move throughout that year.
Yes.
So if first, take a governor, the governor is about to sit with the MCAs. The MCAs are supposed to identify priorities in their ward.
Yes.
And then they all agree that these are priorities for funding. Then they now go and they cost them. After their costs is when they enter the budget. So when the money comes, you already should have advertised for companies which will execute that project and they pay.
Yes.
You see, so we are failing on 2 fronts. First, we are failing on planning. We are not planning in advance. That is number 2. We are inserting too much budget and corruption until we ground out the real program that can actually assist the Kenyans. And then because they must be done, the corruption money is spent fast before we can pay this one. That's how they're accumulating these debts.
Professor Iraqi, your thoughts on the absorption of the development funds, but they don't get to the people, the people who are supposed to receive those funds, the projects who are supposed to be the beneficiaries of those funds?
First of all, from any perspective, any point of view, it's very disconcerting to me to hear that you are not able to absorb money. Yet, if I give any of you money here, you are going to squander it and finish it very fast. So I heard from one county, which I will not disclose, that the reason why they don't use all the development budget is they fear that if they use that money, they will be accused of corruption. So don't use the money. It's like keeping your car at home so that you're not involved in an accident. so I think that is very myopic. But what we need to do is, I support my partner here, that plan, we have these projects, we have starting time and ending time. You see the way Chinese projects have become popular in this country, because they will say we are starting this time and finish this time, and it's a budget. So if these guys plan very well, then there's no reason why they cannot absorb that money. There's no reason why we cannot have feasible projects on the ground. And that was the essence of devolution, so that people can identify the problem, the projects that are pertinent to their life, that will help uplift their living standards. But now, when you don't absorb money and the money is there, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make economic sense to me.
And a part of it is the quality of the governors we elect. This is the problem with the democracy. Some of them, they just can't manage 10 people. And you are giving them billions because they don't have the education capacity enough to manage that. It's a big challenge, because even the challenge you're having for the country right now is that you simply have managers who just can't govern. They don't have the capacity actually to deliver governance. So in the counties, it's the same. You go there and you find, how many times you have seen people you can take the example of Nairobi. You see, in governance, there is a principle called the Peter Principle.
Yeah.
The Peter Principle is when we promote you beyond the competence. You can be a very good member of parliament or a wonderful woman rep. But the moment you are going to make you governor, you won't be able to move because you have promoted you beyond
where
competence.
you're supposed to be.
That is one of the weaknesses of the democratic process, because it doesn't have the most competent place in the position. Because when you talk about planning, you have to know the procedures, how you apply it. When we talk about involving because they are supposed to work with the MCAs just as much as the national government need to work with the parliament, although the national government doesn't work with the parliament as much because it has infrastructure on the ground, the DCs, the DOs. It can collect the data on the priorities without involving the parliament, it can. But the governor cannot work without involving the MCAs, even though as administrators, there is so-called county administrators. You have to involve them. Some of them because of challenges in education. And some of those MCAs are more educated than them. They don't have the humility of allowing to be guided. You see, allowing yourself to be guided is a consequence of good education. It's a consequence of what we call enlightenment. Okay? You are small as the people you are working with. You are not bigger than them. You understand? But when you are challenged, you want to prove your superiority. So you don't take direction from the people who should guide you.
Maybe I can add something on that before we go on.
Yeah.
If you don't absorb the money, if you don't put the money to the right use, what are the penalties?
Yeah, exactly.
I think we don't have enough penalties on those people who misuse the funds, who don't complete the projects. And number two, the reason why that development budget doesn't reach the grassroots where it's supposed to be is because of PR. So what have I noted in counties? The governor always has the re-election in mind. So you have a Kasmoro project there, another Kasmoro project there, spread throughout the county to make sure that he is felt everywhere. In fact, I've seen cases where there's a kahil here, they'll make a road up to where you can see. After that, there's no road. So this is very well done. After there, you can't see it. So that is PR, and that's why a lot of projects are not completed.
Yes.
But I think it is also the time counties started talking to one another. Because counties would probably absorb more money, they would probably be more productive if they talk to one another. Because some roads cut across counties, some services can be supplied better if two counties cooperate. I don't think there's any rule that stops counties from cooperating.
Actually,
and they don't cooperate.
Even the factory, taking the Mount Kenya counties, for example.
Yes.
If they were to pull together, they can pull and get 390 billion easily, given the money that they coming from national government. They can decide to have a major hospital. Let's just go say you have a major proper hospital, say in Nyandarua. That will attract medical tourists from all of Africa, not in just Kenya. They can do that very easily. They can combine the resources and do that.
Yes.
They can also do for other targeted income generating activity within the region. Okay? But now, leadership, who is there to offer that leadership? I mean, Kangata has done very well in Muranga. But is he trying to organize the others? Do you understand? Because you have to do. So what Professor Iraki is saying here is we have transactional leaders. Transactional leader, first policy decision is made based on what is the direct benefit do I get. Number two is made with the next election in mind. We don't have transformational leaders who will make policy decision based on how many people will be served, and then with the next generation in mind, as opposed to the next election.
Do you believe there's the elite capture in, when you talk about the counties and failing to deliver on some things because sometimes tenders are given to...
It's a elite capture. That's why also there's a lot of wars there in those counties, because the elite, they monopolize those tenders. They don't even employment. There are people they forced to be employed. They frighten the governors until you are scared you have to employ them. Otherwise, they will sponsor motion to impeach you. So there is elite capture at the county level, and there is elite capture at the national level. It is very rare when actually the Kenyan populace comes to the mind of policymakers in this country. And this elite, what it is basically, is the colonial extractive mind in governance, which has never left. It just left temporarily during Kibaki. But the other way is any government, whether it is national or county, is extractive. How much do we get? It's as if they are going somewhere else. They are not staying here with us. That mindset will have to change if this country is going to grow.
Professor Iraki, we do have policies that are, or rather projects that we do see in counties where, there's public participation, but the project that comes out is not what people wanted. It's totally the opposite. What should be done to ensure that, let the public get what they want, what benefits them?
I think the saddest thing that, not the saddest, but the brightest part of our constitution, in my opinion, was public participation. But I don't think many Kenyans realize how much power they hold in public participation. So the idea behind that was that if there's a project that is supposed to be started in a certain county, it is supposed to benefit the public. So they are supposed to have their say on what should be done and how it should be done. But do we go for public participation? The moment we finish voting and we have an MC, a women rep and so on, we wait for the next 5 years. So our Kenyan voters should become more vigilant. They should turn up for public participation. In fact, a lot of projects have been cancelled because there was no public participation. And that shows how important it is. But do people participate in that? So because you don't participate, the readers, the so-called elite you are talking about, bring their own people. So they agree this is what we are going to do. Sometimes it is the project is inflated or moved to a different place. And that's why you end up finding that whatever people had planned for is something different, because we don't participate in public participation. And I think there was a bill that was supposed to be published on how to run public participation. I don't think it has come to fruition.
But it hasn't come. And I may give you a very good example.
Yes.
If the public was asked whether they wanted the SGR or they wanted a road, the public would have chosen the road. Because you look at the Eastern Bypass, there was no Kamakis before that road was built. The land rates went up. There is businesses on the road. There is eateries. The railway, it doesn't punch like a road. So that money they put on that white elephant would have given a 6-lane highway from Mombasa to Malaba at a third
of what the railway cost.
Now, if you ask the Kenyans, they knew, they would have told you, please give us a 6-lane highway around. And in fact, the money, because it's moved from 55 billion to 300 billion to 500 billion, that money is enough to build another 6 lane away from Mombasa to Mandera through Hola and open that area completely. And from Nairobi to Moyale through Isiolo. And you are still left with the money. So now you ask yourself, why would somebody choose the SGR when that money can do all that? You choose the SGR because there is more to steal from that one than if you did those practical things that would assist the Kenyans.
I think I need to add something.
Yes, Professor.
That's why public participation is very important. Remember, you are coming to participate on an issue that is pertinent to your life, to economic well-being. And most important is your money. So I always find Kenyans voters very strange that you pay taxes, but when you are told to go and decide how it is supposed to be used, you shy away. And I think that's the civic engagement we need to make sure Kenyans come to understand and appreciate that vigilance is the currency of a functional economy. That once you vote your people, you give them money or you pay your taxes, you follow it up. Because if I give you these guys, if you look at the banks, if a bank gives you a loan, they want to know what you do with it.
Actually, they come even to inspect.
They come to inspect because they know that if your project succeeds, they'll get back their money with interest. And the public should behave the same. That once we pay our taxes, whether it is read by MCAs or whoever is in charge of the oversight, we should be together. So that our money is put on the right use, it's not stolen, and you can be sure that if the public participated more, corruption will go down. Because we shall hold our leaders accountable. But now we just fold our arms. We wait for the next 5 years.
They will tie the quality of the output of our project to the money that has been put in, which they knew in advance. They know how much money was to bring this branch. And if you do substandard work, they don't know you have done substandard work.
Because they were there from the beginning.
Because they were there from the beginning.
Yes.
So the framers and Article 10, the framers who put the public participation, they were having in mind continuous democracy, continuous monitoring and evaluation. Not democracy only after 5 years.
Professor Naitule, as we wrap up this conversation, what next for counties to ensure that we do away with this devolved corruption?
We need to revisit the design of the devolution. We need to revisit it because, look, for example, in devolved health.
Yes.
But the 5% of the budget is still in Nairobi. What is it doing? Because the money needs to follow functions. We devolved agriculture. Why are we having the Ministry of Agriculture to the point of having a fake fertilizer? All that money is supposed to be surrendered to the counties. Okay? In a sense, even in education, because we developed, I don't know, only the nursery, probably the
ECD.
The ECD. We developed the ECD. So the corresponding amount of money. So what we have done is we have devolution halfway.
Yes.
We are not paying a lot of attention. Number two, we need to have what Professor Iraki said. We need to have consequences for either misuse of the money or failing to use
the money.
There has to be personal consequences to the people. There is a court decision which came out the day before yesterday, a beautiful one, which is saying that the governors are directly responsible for misuse of public funds, for tendering. They are directly responsible. If you have fake tenders or whatever, you can't tell us this committee, expert committee. No. So this now is saying they are directly, but you see the court can't assign a penalty. That is the work of parliament. So the parliament need to revisit that decision of the court, and they need to attach penalty to the responsibility that has been given to the governors. We have laws which forbid but don't punish. So and that is a major weakness. We need to revisit this thing. We need to audit the devolution part of it, because it's the most important anchor of the 2010 Constitution. Yes. It is the most important. So we need to revisit and see what we can do with it, because it cannot continue the way it is right now. It's not helping.
Professor Iraki, your parting shot?
Very simple. There's one thing we have left out, and I'm very particular about it.
Yes.
Brain drain. If you look at all the top students in Karachuonyo, in Shamahoho, in Yangarani, in Northeastern, in Ukambani, everywhere, top students in high school and university, where do they end up coming to? To Nairobi.
Yes.
So why do we extract brains from the counties? So one way to jumpstart the economic growth in the counties is to encourage reverse brain drain, so that the students who graduate from universities, top students in every area, go back to the counties and help come up with innovative ideas. Number two, what incentives do we give to counties who do the right thing? So it's not just about the penalties, but also incentives. If, for example, I exceed the budget, or I exceed my revenue correction, if I absorb very much compared with other counties, what are my incentives? So let's have incentives and, very important, penalties for the counties. And finally, counties should be centers of economic growth, not centers of politics. If we bring economics before politics, I think counties will do what they're supposed to do, create jobs, and raise the standards of living, because that's the dream of every Kenyan. And that's what we expect, that counties should improve the standards of living compared with a centralized system. That is still work in progress, or work that is yet to be accomplished.
Thank you very much, Professor Axen Iraki, as well as Professor Gitile Naitule, for, of course, finding time tonight to come and talk to us about the county government's budget implementation review report that was released last week, as well as what next for counties and what should be done to ensure that devolution in